We're all coming together here today to try to deepen our relationship with Royal Caribbean and all of its brands, and kind of introduce ourselves as strategic marketing partners, not just as printers, but as kind of visionaries looking forward to where printing is going, because we definitely know that it's not dying. We definitely know that it's flourishing, but it's flourishing in personalization, it's flourishing in customization and creative formats and things like that. And it's flourishing being tied into great technology. So whether it's analytics for direct mail and delivery timing, or anything having to do with tying in with email campaigns, social media campaigns, and things like that, we recognize print is an integral part, but no longer are we just printers, we're communication specialists. That's why this meeting today. That's why we're introducing you to a couple of our strategic partners in SKG and in Kokomojo. So with that, I'm going to introduce you to Barry Klingeman.
My great job is to run the national program for travel and leisure at Cenveo. So Rob mentioned here we are as printers, but knowing that we, in order to be relevant and meaningful to our clients, always need to look ahead. And that is often through partnerships. So we're bringing Claude and Kristen in as our partners. By saying that, what we hope that we'll really be able to show you is the knowledge that you have about who your passengers are, what their behaviors are, actually can extend past the print and past the analytics that you have now, mostly coming from direct mail, etc., and align with your consumer strategy by hitting your passengers where they are with marketing that is in response to what they do. So really connecting those actions and driving that next level of messaging. I'm going to introduce you to Claude Monroe from SK&G.
We're an advertising agency. We've seen the spend change. All of the out-of-home advertising, television is all dropping, and that one-to-one direct marketing is picking up. It just passed 50% of the total ad spend. And then the other side is the return on investment. You're getting $12 compared to $5 return on investment when you have personalized, relevant marketing. And what we wanted to do was create a platform that could really trigger those communications based around a centralized database. The biggest difference between our platform and other platforms is that all of the data that comes into our platform goes into a centralized database. You don't pull a list and create segmentation, pull that list and then deploy something. We build the business rules, and then it finds people and triggers that communication one at a time to the right person. Amount of mobile views has increased so dramatically. So we really had to include mobile in our platform. And I don't think a lot of the automated marketing platforms out there do very good personalization, especially with the MMS imaging. So we built that into our platform as well. Personalization, we just have seen it increase and increase and increase. Response rates, open rates, and this is just a slide that shows you, I mean, if you just look at that top piece, that's the group that grew more than 50% when you put personalization in. So we know it works, right? We know that variable data, variable images is going to increase your return rate, your click-through rate, your open rates and everything. So we really built a system where we can make everything personalized that goes out. This is what we built the platform based around. We've always used this as an agency. We call it the customer lifecycle. It works for pretty much every industry we work with. And we just look at those pieces where what are you doing as far as marketing with your new acquisition, your onboarding, your loyalty programs, your reduced activity, and mapping out your customers on this life cycle, and then saying, how are you communicating to them? Most people are pulling together a list and sending out a monthly newsletter, or they'll do new acquisitions on a monthly basis. What we wanted to do was be able to trigger all of these campaigns at the right time to the right person. So the database drives it, and we'll trigger all of these campaigns and any others consistently. So every single day, we're sending out all of these communications to your customer base when they qualify. So if you've got reduced activity and you decide that that's a 2-year period that they haven't contacted you, the system will find everybody and 2 years after their last purchase, trigger communication. So this is overly simplified. It could be, we have hotels that have over 150 campaigns running at any time. But then imagine every one of these has to be personalized and relevant to them. And that doesn't just mean first name or simple image replacement. It means in the case of a casino, I might have 500, 600 segmented groups that are going to determine the offers that we send. So that onboarding or loyalty program piece may have 300 variables. So then you go to the next one and the reduced activity will also have 300 variables. So it becomes impossible to manually communicate with people and send them relevant offers with that many variables involved. So we had to automate it. We had to do that by centralizing the database. And this is what we built. It's a drag and drop platform. And literally, this is how we used to sell campaigns. We'd get a whiteboard and we'd start drawing and we'd link them together and say, if you do this, you do this, you do this. So we took that and we actually made it the platform. So as you drag the pieces on, you build your business rules. If you're doing a direct mail piece, the direct mail editor is in the platform. Email too, inbound and outbound text messaging. We wanted to do personalized URLs so the landing page comes across. We wanted to do general URLs. And these triggers that we use, you just build a visual map, and as people qualify, the system will trigger that communication and actually send it. And basically, first thing is the database. It's all centered around that. We have casinos with literally 8 million contacts in their database, and we have some with virtually any. We can connect to any database, external database. We bring the data in through an ETL process where we'll actually clean it up, make sure that it's good, make sure the emails are good, and make sure it's usable. So you may have a date of birth for somebody. When that field comes into our database, we'll create 4 or 5 new fields, which is age, and we'll spell out January so that you can use it in a direct mail piece. So we actually clean up and make it usable. On every contact, the schema is completely customizable by you. It's your own database, so you match it to your system. And we also have participation records for every contact. So as you use it, you can go in and actually look at every communication that's ever gone out to every customer, whether they owned it, what it was, direct mail, email, text message, whether it included a link or a personalized URL to a landing page, and whether they visited that page. And again, because it's centralized, all of this data can be used as triggers to send another communication. So I don't have to just say, give me everybody that's 45 years old that lives in the state of California. I can actually say, and has opened 3 out of the last 5 emails. Their preferred channel is email, and use all of that for my filter. Personalization is built inside the platform, and it's pretty simple. We just build business rules, and this is an example of an image business rule where I'm just looking at the database and then I'm putting in an image based on that rule. And this keyword at the top is actually going to drive HTML. So this keyword will work inside of the landing page, it'll work inside of an email, and it'll also work for the print piece. So when we create these business rules, they can have as many outcomes as possible, but it means you're going to see a relevant image, and you're only going to have to build it once. And then basically, we go into the campaign. Everything in here is stored. So I have my full asset management. I can edit images. I can rechange them. There's permission bases. And then I can just go in and create this. First of all, I'm going to say what type of campaign. Is it a one-time send or is it planned? Planned just means that it has a start and end date. It can run for 5 years or a week. I'll call this retention loyalty, and I'll go to the campaign map. So this big white space is actually kind of the key to our platforms. We call it Campaign Runner, and it's looking for something to do. It's just a piece of code that's constantly looking at the database, and whatever I put on top of it, it's going to do. So here I'll take a filter, I'll put it in, and set whoever I want to get the email. In this case, I can go as simple as, I'll just go into the contact database, and I'll look at something like state, find everybody in California, and at the bottom it just says match or no match. I can go across and turn on my counts and see how many people in the database actually match. In this case, there's 510 people. And at the bottom, where it says match or no match, I decide what I'm going to do. In this case, I'm going to bring over an email, and I'm just going to put it onto the campaign map, drop it in, and by connecting it, I'm automatically saying send it to these people. And I'm also going to bring over a landing page. I have internal or external, so I can link polls to your existing websites. I give you a small piece of Java code, and it means that when they come in, we can trace them, they can pre-populate forms, or we can build the landing site inside of our platform. And by connecting the bottom of the email where it says sent, that means anybody that I successfully sent an email to, it will include the personalized URL that'll bring them to a landing page. The people that couldn't receive the email are on the not sent. That's bounced emails, that's a contact without an email address. And for them, I'm going to want to send them a direct mail piece because we want to contact them. And literally just by connecting these little dots, I'm in the background, I'm creating all the XML that's going to execute this campaign. So the people that are going to get the email go to the landing page. The people that are going to get their direct mail, I'm going to bring them into the same landing page. And just by connecting sent to the landing page, it's creating the personalized URLs for the print piece. Those will be friendly polls. The ones in the email are encrypted polls. And then I build behind it. Go into the editor, put in my subject line. I can build it from scratch. I can bring in source code from any other system, or I can use templates from my library. That'll drop in the template. And if I want to, I can start adding my personalization. So for example, if I want to put first name here, I just go and select first name, drop it in, and it's going to load that into the HTML. So when it's sent, it will have personalization there of the person's first name. I can also bring in images. So I built the business rules that I showed you earlier behind that image. I can just select that keyword, and that's going to drop in a business-based image. So this image that they're going to see, you'll see has various outcomes based on who the email's going to. So if I know they're interested in casino, it's going to be casino. If I know that they're interested in the pool, it's going to be pool images. And that can go for the background, it can go for anything. So these keywords can really dynamically create a personalized email on the fly. We've built in some pre-flight checking, some spam checking to make sure that the emails are going to be deliverable. And once I'm done, I just go ahead and save it. And the next thing I have to do is go back to the campaign map and schedule it. And by clicking on the scheduler, I can say, the database, the filter is looking for people constantly. So it found 500 people. As new people come in, it's going to find them, but I may only want to send the email on a specific time. So I can set it and say, let's run that email Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and what time I want it to go out. Or I can do an interval scheduler and run it every 5 minutes, or whatever I want to do. We have approval process built in, so you can send samples to a distribution list before it goes to a client. What we normally have people do is do that for the first few weeks, especially if they're using complex offers. And then once they've seen it and they've tested it and approved it, we'll turn that off and it'll actually just trigger and send them straight to the customer. Once I go into my direct mail piece, it's exactly the same. Click on the editor, go in and select a template, or I can start from a blank template. I can just take an InDesign file and actually load it into the system and then add the personalization afterwards. So if your creative team has got pieces already done, we can just transfer those into the library, and then all you do is add the business rules to it. So I'm going to select this postcard and show you how easy it is to add personalization. You just literally add a new field, and I'm saying I want to add that image that we just looked at, and that keyword that we built is here. As I drop it in, it's now putting all of those images available to me inside of this print piece. And you'll see when I go to my assets, it's already loaded all of the images that the business rules are behind. And then I can go to the document and actually start adding that into the document itself. We have full editing capabilities here. It's got copy fitting, leading, it's got layered files. You can bring in your InDesign file and keep all the layers and the transparencies in there. And then I can create a proof data. In this case, it's telling me that I need 3 proofs because that image had 3 possible variables. In some cases, obviously, there's hundreds. We have pre-sort. So if the data that's coming in is more than 200 pieces, it will automatically do the pre-sort and all of the pre-sort paperwork for the print piece too. Finally, I go to my landing page, and I'm going to go in and build a landing page. I have a selection of domain names that I can point to the platform. I can use a different one for every one or a default. And basically, I just add in content exactly the same way I would as in an email. So here's a content portlet, and I'm just going to simply add a keyword of somebody's first name or full name. And as soon as I publish it, this is actually live, kind of microsite built and published. And down below, the next piece I can add is a form, and drop that in. And once it's done, that page is live. I can actually test the page as a test contact and see what they're going to see. So this would be what they'd see if they clicked on that personalized URL and came in. And you'll see down here the name is populated on that keyword. And all of these images, when they select them and answer them, are going to be stored in the database. So now I can go back to the campaign. Really simple campaign, just built it in 5 minutes, but it's an email, direct mail, coming into a landing page. Now I want to add some other pieces, so I'm just going to post to Facebook and bring a link, which will be a general URL now because it's not personalized, but it's going to post and I can schedule that to your pages. You can have multiple pages in the platform. Same thing for Twitter. We can go ahead and schedule our tweets and link them in. And then I can do text messaging too. So here, the 9 people that didn't receive the email, I can just put a text on here and connect it to the other side. And now the 9 people that don't come from California are going to get a text. That text message is personalized. And again, I'm bringing it into the landing page. And as you can see, you can keep going and going and going. I can build filters based off of that landing page I just put in. So now I can actually look at the answers that somebody gave me by going into the database that is the answers as opposed to the contact database. Here, campaign. I can select the actual campaign and drill down to any email, any landing page, anything that happened inside the campaign. So I just select this, look at this landing page, look at the form. Should be questions on that form. And I want everybody who said, oh, this is just a registration, and it says yes. So now what I've done is actually created a new filter that's going to find people based on the landing page, and now I can trigger another communication, and I can schedule that for whenever I want. So as time goes on, all of this information is going to the database. The database is getting smarter and smarter. It's learning more about you. So every communication that you get becomes more and more personalized, more and more relevant. And then we also have all of the transactional data coming in. One of the other things that we have that's kind of unique is storing all of the history. So I can do calculations based on your average spend in any facility. If you're at the casino, the hotel, the type of room that you stay in on a boat, whatever it is, I can build that into my business rules and personalize the triggers to you. So your offers are always going to be relevant. If you've got an upsell on a specific cruise that you're talking about and you want somebody to do an excursion, you can make sure that that excursion's tailored to the spend that they have on the boat. And all of that is just built into these maps. And then once it's done, I literally have to just turn to say deploy, and this campaign will start triggering. And it'll run until we go in and turn it off. So long as you're feeding the data in, or so long as the data is changing and people are qualifying, it's going to trigger. And then the next really incredible piece is that it's not just this campaign. So now I've got all of these campaigns running, and some of them are based on the previous campaign. So you come into the landing page and you tell me that you're interested in golf. I have a golf campaign running that you now qualify for. Or you do something else, I have something that now qualifies for that. And now what we're working on is actually integrating with Kristen some locational beacons and some geo-targeting. So not only can we send you these relevant personalized communications, but we can now see where you are when we're doing it. So I can trigger a very smart, relevant, personalized email with all of your transactional history and all of the correct offers based on the fact that you just walked past a specific beacon.
So I'm Kristen Hamill from Coco Mojo. We're a proximity marketing company. We're going to talk a little bit about what proximity marketing is. So we use 2 technologies. We use geofencing, which is GPS, not as relevant for you on ship, but very much relevant for you off the ship, and beacon technology. How do you build a better and better experience, more engaging? Some of our key lessons and how we apply our technology, and I'm sure that you guys are masters at this as well, are, anticipate their needs, surprise and delight them whenever you can, reward the behavior that you want them to do. We came up with some ideas of like, how could you capture the guest from the time they land at Miami International, wherever it is they land, to all the way through the ship and beyond onto the next repeat order. So here's a simple one. You guys have the Royal IQ app already. You're already tracking the luggage, but how nice would it be that as soon as I land, I open up my app, or I don't even have to open it because I get a notification that says, hey, welcome to the airport. We're so excited to see you. If you open it, maybe it gives you directions on how to meet your cruise representative. All of a sudden you feel like someone's holding your hand right then and there from the moment you step off the airplane. And not only that, but maybe it sends a message to the cruise representative to their iPad that says, Kristen has just landed. So these are things that can be done using beacons and geofence, and they're actually fairly simple to do. How do we get them to explore the ship? How do you get them to spend money? How do you get them to make their experience better? So here's just a concept. So this user has explored approximately 75% of the ship. They're in the mall there, Sorrento's Pizza, there's some information. They can check in while they're at Sorrento's Pizza. Awesome, they just got a pizza lover's badge. And if you accumulate enough badges, maybe it goes towards something, a tchotchke at the store, or maybe some sort of something that they can get on the ship. Starbucks, you know, obviously you want to keep your vendors making money. You guys take a percentage of that. We understand that that's important. So Starbucks, hey, in this case, you know, it's some sort of discount. Fantastic. That's really straightforward and simple. In fact, these are what I call light integrations. So this one is telling us that, hey, while you're at this particular restaurant, and it's only to the people who are in a particular area, they're having lunch, that there is a 20% off a particular excursion. Now, this might be an excursion that hasn't filled up yet. This might be one that's happening that afternoon. Maybe there's a few extra slots. It's your last chance to give that extra little push to get somebody to buy those seats. Or maybe it's for the next morning. And in this case, it's an opportunity to give them a little bit of something special only through to the end of lunch. But that means that they have to reserve now. So this is all of a sudden, what does this do? We're using their location to get people to spend, to engage, etc. This is a little platform that we just put together. It's a test site. Took some of your branding and whatnot. This is essentially the dashboard that you would see for an account that's running a number of different promotions or experiences, and it can all be managed from the back end. So essentially what happens is we register your mobile app or applications depending on how many that you have. We build the experiences. They can either be distributed by HTML, which is a very light integration, super simple. We recommend something slightly more native. So a native experience is something that would use the animation on a phone or allow them to do text messaging or allow them to use the camera or the microphone and build really cool, really immersive integrative experiences. We can actually package those as templates and hand them to your developers, reducing the amount of development time and cost. And they're managed from the back end from this dashboard. So this dashboard is kind of giving an overview of what's happening at the account level. So here are some of the popular promotions that people are engaging in. I call them promotions, but keep in mind that this can also be repurposed for whether it's information, giving them information on a particular point of interest, something like that. It could just be an educational, hey, there's a party going on here tonight. Do you want to attend? It manages the information. We manage essentially the businesses that are on the property. We call them locations. Those could be the points of interest. They can be whatever it is that you want to specify. Wherever you want to stick a beacon basically becomes a location. And then there's data and analytics that's tied to all of it, which shows you who's engaging, when are they engaging, how frequently, and then if you need to tweak something real time, let's say the messaging isn't quite right or you don't really like the image that you're working with, you can come in real time, change it, and as soon as the person opens up their app the next time or refreshes, they get a completely new message. So you can also A/B test that. You have two different beacons. You want to put out the same message, see which one is getting a higher hit rate. It's really simple to use from that standpoint. So this is essentially what this dashboard does. And it manages the promotions that are happening in the back end. And then from here, we have a reporting and analytics section. You know, we can break it up by business, by location, by promotions. And then coming soon, we have applications. If you already know that you have a user who has your app downloaded, you can continue to message to them based on where they are in the world if you have business partners out in the world that are willing to work with you by either creating geofences or by having beacons at, you know, whether it's resort partners or whoever it is your partners may be. So there's opportunities to continue to keep them engaged with your mobile application based on their proximity. Things that might trigger their memory of a really fantastic vacation. So just kind of keep that in mind as well. We simply provide the platform to enable these really creative ideas. That's what we are. We're a tool provider, a software provider. And so that's essentially it. Some of the engagement rates are extraordinarily high. We're seeing with beacons upwards of 60%, and in some cases we're seeing 80 to 90%. This is a pretty new technology within the last year, and some of the larger brands who have implemented it are seeing a return in their annual revenue in the hundreds of millions of dollars.